Said I could bring books. I said, I'm not bringing books. You know, they're here for the breakfast. They're not here for me to pitch my books. But yeah, I did grow up on a farm north of Burton View, about a mile and a half down the road. It was a gravel road when I was a kid, and it became a blacktop. We were thrilled when we didn't have rocks coming through the windshields and stuff as we were driving down the road. But my dad was very involved with the Farm Bureau board. I think it was 9 years. Jim said that he was on the board and was president of it for a time. He was the leader of Husky Helpers 4-H club. I was a member of that. He served, I think, 25 or 30 years as a leader of that. He was very involved. I learned to drive on a John Deere 520. That's how old I am. The 520 was, I think, a tractor from the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. But that's how I learned to drive. I showed pigs at the county fair across the street, and at the state fair. One year, my dad and I entered a really nice pair of barrows, Pullin China barrows, and we won the state championship for Pullin China breed. And that was a big deal. My dad, I think that was maybe one of his highlights of his life, because we had showed a lot of pigs and didn't have a ton of winners, but that was pretty important to him. My dad had a baling machine, and he would go around and was hired by neighbors to go out and bale their straw and their hay. And I was very involved in that I got to ride the rack and which was a fun and dirty job. But I liked straw. It was much lighter. The hay was always wet and heavy as heck. And the one memory I have about riding the rack was when I was in high school, Norman Cook was a 6'8" all-state center on my team. Norman was always short of cash. We were best friends, and he was always short of cash. And so I convinced my dad to hire him to ride the rack with me. So there was Norman, 6'8", and me at 6'6", riding the rack. We had to be the tallest pair of farm workers, I think, ever assembled like that. But I was not much of a farmer, to be honest. I hated slopping the hogs and doing all the other stuff, and I was more into sports, and I hated doing those chores. But yeah, sports was my life from the time I remember. I played Stratomatic baseball, a board game in my room. I shot baskets out on the farm, all in preparation for a play-by-play career. That's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to call games, and I would take these board games, and when I was even shooting baskets by myself, I would, and also on the farm, I didn't have any brothers or sisters around to play ball with me, so I would play wiffle ball by myself, throw it up and hit it, and I'd do play-by-play of my imaginary games as I would imitate Harry Carey and Jack Buck, who were the Cardinal broadcast crew. And I was a Cardinal fan, so the Cardinals never lost. I made sure of that. But it really did help me prepare for my career, although we didn't know it, that I would be successful at that job, because not everybody who dreams about calling games on radio or TV gets to do that. My mom actually was watching me play wiffle ball by myself and doing my play-by-play, and my older sister Rita was in the kitchen with her looking out the window. My mom looked out and said, "Oh, what is that kid ever going to do in life?" And little did she know I was getting ready for a career. But I played baseball and basketball at West Lincoln. When the school opened, I was in the class of the first graders. There were 11 of us that graduated from West Lincoln as seniors, 8th graders. Then I ended up going on to Lincoln High School. I was a 2-year starter on the basketball team. My 2 years were the 2 years that were sandwiched between the two 30-1 teams. The 30-1 team led by Seymour Reed in 1970, and then the 30-1 team led by Norman Cook in 73. We went 17-10 my junior year, and then the most interesting thing that year that happened to me, I saw the Mount Pulaski Jackets and the kids there. It reminded me that I was playing in a game at Mount Pulaski. Lincoln played there, And at the end of the first quarter, one of the Mount Pulaski, we missed a shot. One of the Mount Pulaski kids grabbed the rebound and just chucked it the length of the floor towards the basket. And I was back on defense and took one step back and jumped up as high as I could. And my hand went right through the net, into the net. It was goaltending on a length of the court shot. And Duncan Reed, who was a somewhat quiet, mild-mannered coach, I didn't play the second quarter. He made sure of that. I was lucky to get into the third after that. He couldn't